Hi, my name is Scott Dixon. I am the head coach for Infantry Nordic Sword. The infantry are out here in Idrefjord, Sweden, and we're learning how to ski and shoot. And we're doing it in a variety of different ways. We've got a pretty set structure. Our training is pretty well considered and tried and tested. And we know how to quite effectively get our novices from never having touched snow before to be looking very impressive in a very short space of time. Some of the skiers you're looking at right now are complete novices. They've never been on snow before a couple of weeks before, or in some cases, just a couple of days before. And some of them are experienced skiers. So most of who you saw there are our experienced bunch. We then have, there's a coach at the front, so you're aware, but yes, we have a variety. And I'm going to show you in this video some, even including our best. This is Nathan Carter. He is on the IBU Cup. Nathan is an absolutely fantastic skier, one of the talents that we picked up years ago. And we're working on cornering here, so trying to get him to distribute his weight from foot to foot very distinctly on the cornering, so as to be able to get the edges in properly. Something that he is developing. And now if we take a look at his skate 2, I'm going to draw attention to how he's bringing his foot in. So Nathan's one of our best skiers and has a tendency just before he poles, so he plants his poles here. Now, all of his weight is still on his ski, but he's already started falling across to his right foot. His feet are still a little bit apart. When we see some of the best in the world do this, you'll see that their feet are a little bit further apart, a little bit closer together, and almost touching. And then when Nathan plants, just take a look at how his foot hovers before he puts it down. So he brings it into the inmost point here, and now just watch it hover over the ski. So if he was still on this leg doing the kick, and his ski was here, right underneath his body, in this line, then he would still have more of a kick phase on this leg, because he would essentially be able to kick out much further. The closer the ski is under the body, the more of a kick phase you have. The further away from the body, the more balance you have, but the less kick phase. So what we teach our athletes is how to get our feet in really close under our body. And another one, just as a point of diagnosis, and it's kind of a shame, poor Nathan was doing some intervals and he was talking about how much cramp he had in his right leg after doing those intervals on the treadmill. And as you can see, almost a refusal to get the feet closer together, like there's magnets pushing them apart. So the question at this point is, how do we address that? And what are some steps that we can take to improve the cornering side of things? Now, Nathan is a brilliant cornerer. He's excellent at all of the techniques. So in this review, it's how do we refine what is already very good, and not how do we reinvent the wheel. I'll let this play through. So we start off by getting Nathan to just consciously be aware of putting his feet further underneath his body. As you can see already, that is taking effect, that is working. He's able to just consciously do it, as so many are. Once they see themselves, they're like, all right, yeah, got it. And they're so aware of their body, they're so good that they're able to just pick it up. But then we want to go extreme. So we've tried that I'm just going to just go for it, see what you can do, to now let's do a crazy drill. But just while we're here, look at that. Beautiful. You do a straight line up and his head is right of his ski. Beautiful. So this drill here is getting his ski to point forward, so that, once again, direct line up. The ski is right beneath the center of gravity. And the idea is, you'll notice this little hop he does. He points his ski in quite a precariously balanced position and then has to do a little hop. That hop is him realigning. And now, again, trying to get under the body, but you can see this slight curve, a slight weakness on the right side. he plants the ski defensively right here. He's creating this angle with his body where he's crouching, coming down, and then his hip is coming underneath him, and then he steps over the ski. This here is perfect. He is about to fall to his right, our left, and look what he does. He just skips and puts his foot out underneath. He skips and points his toe out to the side. This is beautiful. He's got serious confidence over his left foot. And he's doing this little skip so that he can put his ski in a very awkward place underneath his nose. And he knows that he's going to be able to do that little pop and get himself back to safety. When you're good and you practice that, you're able to put your ski in the optimal place, the fastest place, the place that allows you to glide the longest and kick the hardest, but bounce the least. And then how does he look now doing skate 2 comparatively? So just to dwell on that, because it's so good and such a difference from the start, doing a skate 2, his feet are coming close together, and all of a sudden he's able to glide longer and kick longer. I just want to play that compared to his early skate 2 so you can see the difference. This was him at the start. This was Nathan at the start. Quite wide with the legs, being quite defensive. And then a couple of drills later, doing the hops, the bobs. Again, we're just getting straight to the heart of some of the more complex drills with Nathan because he's so experienced and, again, a very talented athlete. And then just with a few bits of feedback, a few comments, you can see already he's managing to skip away here with really nice foot position in relation to his body. Now he's going to glide further, be able to kick further, harder with his leg. And now let's take a look at our novices. These athletes just have barely done any skiing, and we love doing hops, jumps, sending people down on hill on one ski, absolute chaos. The more chaotic it is, the better. Not for everybody who skis, certainly some, but it's all about not being defensive. It's about getting those falls out of the way in a controlled environment so that you're not scared of it. If you're scared of it, then you're not going to want to do any of the more aggressive drills, shall we say. And the aggressive drills are what enable us to do get the foot placement in the right place and all of the above. So yeah, this 1 foot stuff is just excellent. If you really want to improve, and let's just say you had half an hour a week to improve in skiing, all I would recommend is 1 foot drills. That's it, nothing else. Get on 1 foot and just glide, just balance, hop, bob, twist, jump, go around cones. That's all you need if you only have half an hour every week. Of course, people don't have just that. Now, Nathan's got a lovely sprint in skate 1. And I'm going to just talk you through that rhythm that he is going through here. So this is it in slow motion. I'll just press play to get him a bit closer. His poles go down first. Jab, there. His body weight is still up. You can see there's still a bit of space between his ski and the ground. Then his ski comes down. And then his other ski comes down. And then hop. So it goes pole, ski, hop. And then the hop is the longest phase. Pole, ski, hop. So for those of you who've seen others of my videos or have heard me say stamp and pole equals stole, that principle is not 100% applicable. In sprinting, when you leap off the left foot like this, you're getting all of that body weight in the air for a purpose. What is the purpose? Well, just getting up is energy inefficient if you aren't using that downwards collapse productively. In this instance, Nathan is, because he's driving all of his body weight down, landing on his poles like this, then landing on his ski. So his poles are catching his body weight, and that means that he's able to condense with his core, drag down with his elbows, and generate massive power just because his left leg is giving him that height. His right leg is to supplement, and almost like right leg, left leg into the leap. So his left leg leaps, And we teach this drill all the time. We get our athletes to do sprinting from, I believe it's day 3 on snow. Our novices learn how to sprint on day 3. It might even be day 2. Sprinting is one of the best ways to do technique because they're forced to get their body weight in the right place. So now I just want to point out some minor technique considerations. Just small things, nothing too big. But let's just say here we've got this athlete with their pole just a little bit too far away from their head. Their hand too far from away from the head, the basket too far away from the toe. So if I was in an ideal world putting this pole somewhere, it would be here, maybe even something like that. And this one would be more upright, the left one. You want to get the left pole. The left pole shouldn't come across the body. Calling it offset, as the Canadians do, is useful, and I understand it. It's just, it can be slightly misleading because the offset is an inconvenience, not a desire, not something we want to aspire toward. At least that's how I communicate it. Because offset, it is offset. It's not completely parallel. And the reason that we do offset is because the skis are wide, and when you're getting that lean over the lead pole, you have to point your outside pole at a slight angle so it doesn't catch with your ski. Other than that, we would just be double poling because double poling is stronger. We don't angle the pole so you can push your way up the hill at an angle or anything like that. It's literally all in service of forward momentum. So lots of really scruffy techniques here, and I keep saying scruffy whenever Ben's on screen. We just did a test race today, and again, that's like day 6 of training, and they've already done 2 interval sessions and now a race. And it sounds crazy, but the interval sessions are much more about technique than they are about the pain aspect. And Ben was fantastic. I believe he had the second fastest time. So this technique here, he's tripped a little bit, but with this technique, he's generating a lot of power because he's getting a lot of the fundamentals right. His weight is often in the right place, and you can see that collapse of the upper body. He really has full send committing to that pole, and that's crucial. So using the core to create that forward momentum, and because he's doing so much of a lever, he's able to get a lot of power. Once we teach him how to do that in an efficient manner, he's going to be absolutely flying. Now, this athlete, really nice hopping, bobbing, his hands too far away from his head, so he should be bringing the pole much closer into the body, not A-framing like my little drawing there. But in terms of the skipping and timing, lovely, da-dum, 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 it's like a heartbeat. Now these athletes, stamp and pole equals stole, so as you combine stamping, which is bringing the foot down, stamp being a loose term for the action, because of course it's not actually stamping, and then poling, stamp and pole, combine the 2 words together equals stole. That is skate 1. And let's just give a little bit of feedback here on this athlete's technique. So I'm being quite critical here because this is very good, and I know that he is in the very, very early stages of learning how to ski. He's a novice. But just look at his hand here. Doesn't let go of the pole. So now his hands are going to be in limbo for a second, not knowing what to do, and then they come back up. So you can see here where he is gripping onto the poles. And this is something that we tend to teach a little bit later, is how to actually release and recover a pole. You can see there that there is an urge to let go just ever so slightly, but this athlete is not managing to commit to a full release. In skate 1, going uphill, you can actually get away with completely letting go of your poles. And by letting go, that doesn't mean throwing back, it's different. Don't throw back, just release. You can release them from the second that you get into you put them in the snow, and then just pull down with the straps. It's not like I would recommend doing that, but I'm just saying you can. Excellent timing here from this athlete. Great poling. There is upper body rotation. Everything is going this way. So that core twisting, as you can see there, from right to left, is a slight inefficiency and something that is not a major detail actually, but you can see that twisting right and then left. Why is that important? Well, having the core absolutely rigid means that there's less give when you put pressure through it. And we're all about trying to get pressure from the arms to transmit through our shoulders, through our abdomen, through our hips, and then into our legs. Every time there's a twist or an inconsistency, you're having to use your muscles to stabilize, and that can be an inefficiency where the energy does not go through the body or transmit through the body as cleanly, as strongly as if you have a very tight forward-facing core. All right, so we've done some skate to sprint technique sessions to precede the skate to interval session. And by intervals, again, it's all about the technique. So these athletes are absolutely flying. You can see they've already got up this hill, so great momentum. It's just amazing when you see people get back on snow after just a couple of days and they're already on it. This is Olympian Julian Popp, absolute legend, and a brilliant coach, brilliant technique as well. Brings his feet close together. I pointed out Nathan Carter was doing this, or not quite there with the feet close together until we did the drills. But now, I want to address one of the comments I made, which is that Nathan was planting his ski wide to begin with. He stopped doing it eventually. But just look where Julian plants his ski. He brings this foot underneath his nose. So now, it's underneath his nose. Now, his nose will stay over that foot now. It's almost like the foot comes in. It's like a taxi. It comes in to collect the nose and bring it out. Transferring weight is such a misunderstood term, and people say it all the time referring to get your weight over the ski. It could not be more inaccurate. It's get the ski under your weight and then transfer your weight literally just means step on your other foot, commit to your other foot. So just going back a little bit to see Julian here, because it was so clean and so nice, and it just went by way too fast. But let's do it again because we're here. Upright, nice and direct, foot in, catching the nose goes with the toes. Lovely, beautiful. This skier here, again, very good weight right over the foot comes right in, and then you can see that difference. Look at how his head almost stays over on this side, which is actually something that we can teach, so it's actually not in itself such a bad thing. But the problem is his head, if it does stay over this side, it should mean that his foot doesn't start going out. The thing that's unsynced here is that, look at his head, it doesn't actually move from this line over this foot, while this one starts to go wide. And it's still not down, still not down, still not down, down. Okay, so it went from, you see this arrow that I initially drew, there to there, and when he eventually planted it, he was over here, and his head is not over the ski. I think I'm being a little bit unfair. His head is to the left of to the right of his left foot. Other techniques. So again, these guys are very much in the early days of getting back on snow, but like I said before, they're experienced as well. So very good, and they absolutely sailed up that pretty steep hill, and they're doing that because they're able to get their body weight over the ski. Now, cornering. Cornering is one of my favorite things to teach, one of the most important things to teach. And you can see here, if you look at any photo of alpine skiing, you can see that Julian has got his body directly over that ski. Those arrows are probably just distracting, so I apologize about that. But what he manages to do is get his... I'm just going to go back so you can see it, zoomed in a bit. He's managing to keep his edges in, and he's literally just so comfortable in his ski that is him placing his foot down completely on an edge, which is absolutely perfect. Now my arrows are just destroying your view, but nevertheless, you can see head right over his inside foot. And good cornering is basically bringing your feet in almost underneath your nose. It doesn't have to be 100%, but you're just trying to go foot under the nose, but it's not like up and down under the nose. It's like basically proportional to the amount of outward energy. So in the corner, you're obviously getting pushed out by the momentum. It's proportional to the amount of energy that's pushing you out. And what do inexperienced skiers do? By inexperienced, I'm being a little bit unfair. These guys have got quite a lot of experience, but you can see the athlete behind. He's got the right idea. He's almost going to commit, but he hasn't actually put his foot down right now. You can see, hopefully you can see, he's hovering over his right foot. And then when it does go down, look at the distance between the skis and look at his head. He's in a banana shape. As opposed to this shape. So his head should be there. And annoyingly, this little diagram isn't going to get out of our way. And you'll see that repeated now. And that is because athletes are afraid to put their edge in, and they just don't have that edge control at this point. And they do develop it. They do learn it as the weeks go on. But not just by repeating corners. They learn it through a large variety of drills that we have that enable the athletes to get their edges in and feel confident about it. But it is about repeat until you trust that you put your edge down, it's not going to slip away. Because that's why people don't want to do it. They don't want it to slip. And then you've got your weight right over it, and then you're going to fall down. So yeah, Nathan doing very similar training, but much shorter sprints. These athletes here, they're actually doing 20 times 30 seconds. I know it sounds horrendous, but they're not at the point yet where their technique's good enough to totally destroy their heart and lungs. So it's a tough session for sure, and it's an experiment. We're always experimenting with our training, as long as we're doing it sensibly and trying to learn as we go. It's a session designed so that they can focus on their technique in the sprints. And you might think, oh, these techniques are scruffy. Only somebody who doesn't know how hard it is to learn skiing would think that when seeing these guys, knowing that they've just done 4 days. This is day 4, and they're doing 20 times 30 second sprints, and this is how good it looks. It's unbelievably insane how good that timing is. If you look at the vast majority of beginners who've been doing it for 1 year, 2 years, sometimes 3, 4, 5 years that I coach, they can't get the timing right. They can't get their poles to come down at the same time as the ski. These athletes are all getting their poles down at the exact same time as their ski. It's perfect. And you could argue, well, you said earlier to get the poles down before the ski lands. Yeah, that's very advanced for sure. At the moment, all I care about is stamp and pole equals stole. Some little comments that we can think about. We're looking at pole placement. So the basket's quite far behind the heel. We should see them somewhere around about here. This angle is one that we would expect to be something like that. The best in the world. And right now we're seeing this. And that burns the quads. Don't believe me? Lean against a wall for 5 minutes like that, and then you'll understand what you're doing to yourself going up a hill, versus lean against a wall in this forward kind of posture, and see how easy that is. You can stand there all day. So let this roll out, and here comes Nathan again. So we're getting Nathan to, once again, experiment with some of the technique, getting the feet right underneath his body. And look at that. Beautiful, beautiful angle. He's so committed to the ski. It's awesome. And look at how that little shuffle here. This is the crucial thing. And we do all of these drills where we're trying to teach the athletes to control their ski by doing little hops and bobs. And you see that little hop there that he does? His ski's pointing forward, he just skips it out the way. He's completely in the air right now, nothing touching the ground. And he's basically still landing on his left ski so that he can complete his kick. Straight leg, his nose is over the toe, beautiful. Absolutely brilliant. Side profile. And then my arrow tool. Sprinting, maybe that's a slightly dramatic arrow. You can get much further forward. Takes a strong core, but you can get even more drop down through the poles. Okay, so here's some side profile now of our, again, we've got complete novice here, very talented, and then done a few seasons before with us in Infantry Nordic. Just absolutely flying. Timing, great. And I always look at it through the scope of timing, movement, position, and then power. Power is like, I don't put it in the same category as those three other ones. Timing is when the poles come down in relation to the foot, and your gravity. The movement is which way your body's going, whether it's down over the poles, left to right, whatever. And the position is where you are, like your ankle flex, the angles of your knee to hip, your hip to yeah, just your hip angle. So we're getting them doing some free skating down this very, very icy hill. This is a lot of artificial snow, and it's just slippy. But again, we want them to feel really comfortable pushing on flat. Pushing down steep hills when there's not too many corners, minimizing the amount of snowplow or hesitancy. And this is something Nathan, who is just about to sprint over the hill now, this is him right here. This is what he's doing. So Lassie, who is an extraordinarily good Nordic skier, former biathlete but now coach, is trying to get past him. So he's going to deploy his very best downhill technique, and we're going to do a brief comparison so you can see just what the difference is between the two techniques. And Lassie has just got an amazing technique, so it's really useful to do this comparison, as Nathan is very much still learning, and he learned at a much later date than almost any Scandinavian ever. So yeah, first thing to think about is this angle here. You can get away with this on downhills. It's much more forgiving. On an uphill, that's terrible. On a downhill, it's more balanced, and you can get away with pushing more with your quads because you get the power of your quad, but you also don't have the resistance. Nothing, not the resistance. Well, yes, I suppose the resistance on a hill, whereas going downhill, it's very, very fast. I love the way he bobs up here, and he swings into it. So he's coming up with his body. His hand is about to swoop down, his right hand here, swoop down and across. That means he's got all that momentum coming from his hand and the kick going onto his left side so that he glides further and faster. And then equally, now his left hand is swinging onto his right side. Really nice. How could it improve? Well, I caught him on a bad one here, but it's the ones before it were better, but this just exemplifies the point. So you see how wide his legs are apart, and then look at Lassie's just beside him. That's how far Lassie's feet are apart on connection with the snow. And now look how far Lassie's feet are apart on connection with the snow. On both instances, where is Lassie's head in relation to his foot? Directly over the foot. And now it is very fast. Excuse me. It is very fast. It's downhill, so it definitely makes for difficult skiing. But getting the feet underneath, once again, pointing it completely forward, is the trick. It is the secret. So we did a little video analysis of Nathan skiing very slowly, and just identified a very slight feedback point, which is poles need to be planted something like, oh, excuse that last arrow, here. So he's losing about a foot here. What does that do? Well, I'll stop on the next frame where you can see this body position here is pretty good, but every moment his foot goes forward in front of his body is a problem. So here, fine. If he stood on the ski in that kind of posture, fine. But now he's setting his hip back behind his knee. His hip back behind his knee, but his center of gravity is down and back. And that's why he's putting his pole here instead of here. It should be knee to toe going forward even further, hip to here, body in front, and then holding on to the poles. So you can see that difference on the next. Again, just imagining his pole is much further forward. Okay, so then we worked on that in future sessions, so hopefully we'll be able to revisit it and see more of Nathan's skate 1. And just very casually skate 2ing with his feet in a much better position. Here we have skate Team 1 and Team 2, so this is our best experienced athletes and our best absolute novices. Again, all I'm looking for right now at this stage in the game is good timing. Lots of people not releasing their poles. That's something we're going to work on now in week 2 a little bit more. But timing on the lead leg is critical. Timing on the non-lead leg is obviously still critical, still very important. Just it pales in comparison to the importance of getting the timing right. As you can see, Lassie with his lovely Norwegian dance here, and Tolly behind him trying to hunt him down powerfully, but not elegantly. Elegance is definitely overrated. Power and power is a great thing to have, and then you hone that and refine it. Just want to show you Lassie again here, sprinting over the hill. Really nice, dropping his body weight down through the ski, and then it's the toe that I'm looking for. This frame, when I was showing Nathan, it really annoyed me because his foot goes down right behind this post, but it was a great image. See how his heel is elevated above the ski right here. I'm going to zoom in. So you can see how his heel is actually touching the snow first, and you'll see it again now. The toe is touching the ski first, and then his heel comes down. So it's toe, heel. When you do that and when you master it, that causes the knee to flex over the foot rather than the hip to drop back behind the heel. I won't explain why, but that is the principle. Okay, so I'll let this roll. You can look at the other techniques. This unbelievably good sprinting behind is just such high tempo, such good technique. 100% novice, never skied cross-country ski, never done cross-country skiing before. It's crazy, just in a couple of days. When we find talented people like this, we've got all these drills, which we'll be discussing, showing in future videos, which enable them to be able to get the timing to as high a level as that. And once again, the cornering, we're going to absolutely smash the cornering, really improve on that as time goes by. But just after having been on snow for 5 days, it's just amazing. We are very fortunate with the beginners that we have. More sprinting from Nathan, trying to get his right foot underneath him, as well as there he's getting his left foot. And now a novice from another group, worth looking at for the variety in technique, and also because it really does demonstrate how many people pick up on the skiing with the straight arms. It's going to be a familiar image to many people. But this athlete is incredibly dedicated, incredibly interested in the technique, and let's just review a couple points. First of all, pole placement. Already, he's getting his poles quite far forward, but it's an easy fix to get the poles to go from there, where they currently are, to there, right by his foot. It doesn't have to be super close into the body. It's not like you're trying to make a call, which is a drill that used to be popular in the past. He literally is just getting his hand, the pole tip, the basket a little bit further forward. All right. Next thing is the straight arms. So when you plant your arm straight like this, there's a weak point at the elbow, obviously, but all of that energy gets lost as that joint collapses. But the biggest muscles in the whole movement are these, the lats. And this angle that he has here, this 90-degree angle, is the correct angle, but it's too late. You want to land on that angle so that all of your body weight now would be dropping through your poles. So his arm should be something like that when he's landing, and then he can contract or sort of tense his arms and then drag all of that body weight down through the poles using, as I said, the lat muscles here. So that's just a basic arm position thing. Not so worried about the foot position just at the moment, and that the high lifting. That high lifting is something that does self-correct. We don't often do much about that. It's just when people get more familiar. But there's loads of drills, like the marble drills, when you're pretending to drag marbles along the snow with your ski. And if you lift your ski too high, you lose your marbles. No one loves to lose their marbles. Again, lots of technique variety here. And if you are wondering how we've managed to get so many people doing the correct timing, there's the stamp and pole equals stole drill. Very simple. It's just a case of discussing it. We also avoid teaching skate 3 so that we don't get that confusion. So we teach that in week 2. And the final thing is we teach sprinting after a couple of days. The technique for sprinting, and then we do interval sprinting. And they're absolutely forced to get their weight down. We also say, just send it. Go down hills as fast as you can. Free skate where possible and see what happens. And then this is Julian getting his head over his boot in that really lovely manner. Great technique. We can see some of the athletes. Is that an athlete or a coach? Oh, it looks like a coach because that was such a good angle, but no, that is, I can confirm, one of the athletes. And really nice body weight over the ski there. That's absolutely awesome. Really, really good. Pole release. Not enough pole release. You can see his hands as he is just throwing his hands back. Or he's actually throwing his hands back, but he doesn't need to. He just needs to let go of his poles. So as he's driving his elbows back and his hands naturally straighten out as skate 1, you are using your triceps at the end of the flick. You should be just releasing the pole fully. Great little hop there, though. Adam Keenan, Op Base Camp, runs lots of adventure training for the military and makes infantry Nordic sword happen. And then we have this athlete behind who, again, I feel bad because a bunch of times I've said scruffy, but lots of fundamentally brilliant aspects to his technique for his stage of development, and just powerful. Incredibly powerful and fit, so a talent to look out for. But I'm now looking at ski here and this space between the legs. this is stepping up the hill, so pushing back. So if you just imagine all of that weight is getting pushed back this way, creating momentum going that way, you're pushing to go that way for a ski that isn't even pointing that way. As you can see the other arrow here, this one, that's the way a ski is going. So that energy that's getting pushed into that direction isn't necessarily contributing to a lot of power going forward. So what we do about that is we teach do a drill where they stand on a hill with no poles and they have to push sideways, side, going up the hill. And then they stop and then they say, okay, now I want you to push backwards like you're walking up some steps. And then inevitably pushing backwards is much more challenging. This athlete has an unusual ability to do this. Very subtle thing. When his ski goes down, he's actually not managing to get the ball of his foot down perfectly well. Still really good. Totally flat. Not heel first for sure. But when that happens, there's a very cool, very subtle thing. And see there how his knee drives forward. That knee driving forward continues now. So this bit right here. Forward, 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 forward. That is amazing. That means the body weight is almost pivoting up and over. It's hinging at the knee in a forward motion, which means that he can, when he extends his leg, he can fall forward onto the other leg. In this case, the light just fell down. Jeez, it gave me a fright. If anyone's actually still watching at this point, yeah, try and remember to edit that out. Okay, so now we'll just get through some of these other videos, and I'll do some minimal stopping and just kind of commentate the technique as I see it. I say as I'm literally stopping and doing the technique analysis. It's really hard, I can't help myself. But yeah, here, if you look in... okay, that's definitely broken. So here I'm looking at the same principle I talked about before, which is this ski is very much pushing backwards, when I would actually prefer to see it coming more of an angle like this, sideways. The next thing is I'm looking at the knee to toe angle, and this is the fact that we're even talking about angles here is a really good indication. But because the timing is correct, and that's one of the hardest things to do on both the right and the left leg. I'd prefer to see the hip go from there to there, and then we haven't got the hunch standing up tall like this. Now imagine all of that weight going, oops, wrong place, all that weight going through a pole here, falling forward. You've just got free energy, or energy that came from your calves. Your calves being a muscle you can exhaust far more than your quad. Bear that in mind for your technique. So I'll just call out things that I see as I see it. Again, I'm impressed with all of these athletes. So when I do bring out a piece of feedback, I'm doing it for efficiency, that I'm just saying it as the learning point as opposed to anything else. Once again, lots more sprinting there. Skip past that. Nathan doing skate 1 and then into some cornering. And then he's going to skip around this corner. Lovely sharp jabs, left foot in front of the right foot. Beautiful. And then chasing Julian or vice versa, going down the hill for some free skate. We'll just skip past that cornering. So for those of you who have seen the cornering video that I've done, that you'll know there's loads of elements to cornering, and I'm quite obsessed with it. You wouldn't think there's so much detail that could actually be found in cornering, but this is one of the areas that is very common for beginners, where they'll stand upright or even just with their head inside their skis, and they'll put on a little snowplow with the outside foot, so realign themselves with the outside foot. we don't worry so much about that now. But on week 2, we do lessons to stop athletes from snowploughing with their outside foot and almost like just steering with their right foot. We want to step and we want to get the ski underneath our body so that we can get the edge in. Once the edges are in, you can control your direction with ease. It's just a case of getting used to it. And then this athlete has done lots and lots and lots of drills with me, getting the weight over the ski and hops and bobs and all sorts. So is absolutely familiar with my style of coaching, and you can see his feet very close together, maximizing the power. So thank you for those of you who, maximizing the power and glide. Thank you for those of you who are still watching, appreciate it. I'll be doing lots more video analysis. This is a record of where we're at after just 5 days or 5 skate sessions, and I think 4 days of training here in Idrefjord, Sweden, for our experienced and our novices, and it's going all in the right direction. We've just done a test race today. I'm recording this on the 22nd, and they're absolutely flying. We filmed loads of that, so lots of video analysis to come. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Classic one, upcoming very, very soon.